Hi, everyone. My name is John, your host for today on Route to Scale, a short podcast featuring the founders and operators building the future of e commerce, fulfillment, mobility, and modern delivery. In this segment, we're going to be focusing in on Africa. And today, I'm very honored to have Pankaj, COO of Fixit45. Fixit45 is a Nigerian auto tech and automotive marketplace connecting vehicle owners and fleets with workshops, technicians, and spare parts suppliers. Its current offering spans repairs and maintenance, refurbishments, tires, detailing, roadside assistance, repair financing, spare parts through X parts, and CNG related services. One thing that really differentiates Fixit45 from the rest is how it combines technology with a physical service network. Customers can book servicing, have vehicles picked up and returned, or use workshops in its service network. Thank you so much, Pankaj. I'm so excited for this call.
Thank you, John. Thank you very much for having me here today. And I'm really glad that I will definitely try to meet your expectation.
No. You already being here is such a blessing. So I'm just gonna start off with our first question, right?
Yeah,
So you have
please.
an impressive resume where you've already spent more than 2 decades in the automotive after sales and technical operations across both India and Nigeria, right? Including some
Absolutely.
other bigger companies, right? So you have to tell me, right? What drew you to start working on Fixit45, and what's the story there?
Oh, very interesting question. If you look, obviously, you have gone through my resume as you see. More than 25 years, I have worked with different OEMs in India, in Middle East, and then in Africa. And when I came to Nigeria in 2013, like it's 14 years now in Nigeria. So I saw a very big gap of availability of services to the local users. When I was working with OEMs, uh, majority of the vehicles, which we can call it, are very brand new vehicles which were coming for service. And if you look at Nigeria or across Africa, the majority of the customers or majority of the vehicles which are coming onto the market are used vehicles, fairly used vehicles from different markets, whether it is US, whether it is Canada, whether it is Europe or Middle East or any other part of the world. Those
Mm,
vehicles are coming in, they are old, and three questions became very problematic for customers. One, am I getting right service? Number two, is the person who is the amount I'm paying for, whether it is value for money. And number
mm,
third important portion was where should I go and get it my car serviced? These three were big challenge, which we can put it like transparency was not there, quality was not there, and affordability was a big concern. OEM cannot fulfill it.
mm,
I had the data. Less than 3% of the total vehicles goes to any OEM shops, and they are not so much scaled that they can serve every customer. So I saw that as a big opportunity, plus as well as a big pain point that customers are importing very expensive cars, but they can't get a right mechanic, they can't get a right place to get it repaired. And we saw, okay, let's go ahead and solve this problem.
mm.
That's how I shifted and started working on Fixit 45.
Wow, wow.
Yeah,
Now, as we know, in the mobility space, which you both operate in, though kind of in different segments, right? Um, there's a lot of problems, right? I'm curious, when you first started working on Fixit45, what was the original problems, you kind of started seeing in the market, right? For example, finding trustworthy mechanics, quality parts, right? What were the problems that you really felt you needed to solve to start this business?
very good question. So see, I little bit answered in the last. The biggest issue for a customer was getting a right service center and a right mechanic,
Mm,
right? People were spending money and they were not getting value for that money. The quality of job was not good. Uh, the price of the parts were not even available in the market, so anyone can sell at any price. So I saw the biggest problem was trust as a customer, and number two was value for money,
mm,
right? These two things were the big drive for us to start the business, right? But okay, fine, let's start and try to see how we can solve this problem. I'll just give you a little brief, right? We were part of Cars45. Cars45 was the first largest used car platform in
Mm,
Africa, right? And we started this business building there inside Cars45.
mm.
So a lot of inspections were happening for used car sales, but those vehicles are not getting converted. And what we had enough data that customers have so much of issues, and then last, okay, fine, I'm not selling my car, but where should I go and fix it? So that fix it become our drive to start Fix It 45.
Wow, wow.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So really, you know, in the yeah, in the Cars 45 experience for you to really turn it into Fix It 45.
Yes. The
Right,
Cars 45 basically is based in Nigeria, Kenya,
right,
and Ghana. Yeah.
right, right. So tell me a bit about, your differentiating factor, because we also know there's many, mechanic shops, right? And, you definitely mentioned quality, I think, being the a really important one. But
Yeah.
one thing I also, found a lot on your website and kind of in a lot of documentation about Fix It 45 is your technology piece, which essentially is able to streamline to connect customers, workshops, and technical teams and part suppliers rather than, at times, only focusing on one kind of piece, right? You guys are really managed to connect a lot of these dots together. How did you conclude that these problems really had to solve together for you to kind of own that entire stack?
Very true. So it's also like a learning phase. Initially, we thought that, okay, fine, we are selling cars, let's set up workshops and we'll start doing it. But when we went into market, we understood that, okay, the problem is not that simple, that fine, oh, people don't have workshop.
Mm.
There's enough infrastructure available in Nigeria. If I tell you, in Nigeria, there are more than 300,000 or 400,000 mechanics,
Right.
right? And even I can say more than 500,000, right? There are around 250,000 is in Lagos itself, right? There are more than 55,000 to 60,000 workshops,
Mm.
right? So, the problem was not that, okay, there is no infrastructure. The problem was that, oh, there is no proper talent available. There is no system available to see what is actually happening. The issue was transparency.
Mm.
A mechanic who is working on ground does not know where will I go and buy parts. We also started the same way that fine, we will solve the problem. Let's set up workshop. But we find out that the problem is not only setting up workshop. Problem is the entire system. The system is completely fragmented. There is nothing in the
Right.
system available. That's why
Mm.
we said, okay, fine, we have to take on this. Let's create a complete ecosystem under Fixit45 where we can have parts, where we can have workshops, where we can have independent technicians. And then important part, there is an issue of capacity. Let's build capacity by providing them training. And this all things is not possible without technology because we can't go each and every place. So the technology was the centerpiece of connecting all these things and ultimately provide value to our customers.
Wow. Wow. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, another thing that really differentiates Fix It 45 compared to some of your competitors, and I actually just experienced this myself because I just sent my car for servicing and I was quite upset because I saw a lot of your marketing and I was preparing for this, right? Is that you offer vehicle pickup and drop off, to the customer's desired locations, right? I have to go to my my auto shop to pick up my car, even here in Singapore, and it's frustrating because it's far away, right?
Yeah.
So you managed that. That's really awesome stuff. But once you also introduce that layer, you also introduce an element of complexity or more logistical operations to this, right? How do you, for example, decide which workshop a vehicle should go to based on location, technician ability, parts availability, workload, and turnaround time?
Yeah. So that's where technology plays a role.
Mm,
And, the system, what we have built is not only like technology only, but we created a complete process, a complete
mm,
ecosystem. First part, okay, whenever we are onboarding a workshop, it goes with strict accreditation procedure, right? Because Nigeria is an open market or Africa is an open market, I can say. There are plenty vehicles models are coming into the market. So not every workshop has the capacity to service each and every vehicle available, right?
yeah,
That's
exactly.
first part, right? So how we decide is one, first a customer, whenever customer visits our visit website or our app and he books a car, and then we just connect with the customer, understand complaints, And accordingly, we can decide this is the right workshop based on the capacity available, because that's what our technology does. What workshop has
Mm,
capacity? Uh,
mm,
okay, the competency of the people there, the equipment,
mm.
what is needed, which is there or not. And based on that, we direct customer that, okay, fine, you have to go maybe at this place.
Exactly.
Hope I'm audible, right? So that's the process, and that's the also it started creating this pickup and drop service, because sometimes customer, Nigeria, if you visited Lagos, is a very busy market, and other parts also very busy markets. The traffic and everything is a situation for customer. So he said, don't worry, you don't need to go for maybe let's say 5 kilometers or 10 kilometers to the workshop. We'll come and pick your car and drop you back. So that's the service, especially targeted for those kind of customers and as well as women.
That's just genius. I can just see
Yeah,
people paying a premium just for that convenience. That's
yeah,
really, really smart, right? Um, Now from a mapping and routing perspective, maybe as someone who's building a mapping company, I'm just curious, right?
yeah,
Is
yeah.
the closest so you mentioned like matching the best technician to the problem that the client is facing, right? So does that mean that the closest workshop might not usually be the best workshop, you know?
Yes, correct.
Wow. Okay.
The closest
Okay.
workshop is the closest workshop, but it's not the a correct workshop or exact workshop what is needed to be fix those problems. And we are there
Right.
to fix the customer problem. No, so convenience is one key, and that's where we added this element of other things. So define if you can't, you're not, it's not convenient to you. We are there to support you.
Right. Right. Wow, wow, wow. Um, Another thing that I I realized or was as I was thinking a lot about your business and looking through a lot of your doing research, you know, every hour the vehicle is in your workshop, so to say, is downtime for
Absolutely.
for
Yes.
for for a business owner or for someone who is using the vehicle because it's an asset, right? And it cannot that means it's not earning money, it's not operating, right? How do your fleet customers, because you've partnered with quite a few of them, which, so congratulations. But how do
Thank
your
you.
fleet, maybe you can give, our audience a bit of, like, how do your fleet customers think about vehicle downtime and how much of Fixit45's job is really focused on helping them get these assets back on the road faster?
Wonderful. That's very important question. Right. See, a car is a car for an individual customer, right? Is a matter of convenience. But for a fleet company, for a corporate company where these vehicles belongs to a sales representative or their field guys, it's a matter of revenue for them. So till the time the car has a downtime, the person who is using the car is sitting in the office. She's not he or she is not making any money for the company, and that's a revenue loss for the company. So is one is the cost of maintenance, and second thing the time downtime, which ultimately reduces the company revenue. So we
Right.
prioritize this first. Majority of our customers are B2B, right? Corporates and fleets. And we prioritize that. We understand that situation very well, and that's where we do something different for those guys to prioritize those vehicles and bring them back on the road as soon as possible, as quick as possible.
Wow. Wow. Wonderful. So I just also read very recently, so congratulations to you again. Fixit45 has managed to partner with some very large ride-hailing companies such as LinkRide to provide maintenance through its accredited service center network. You know, two questions to that. What made Fixit45 differentiate itself such that LinkRide chose such a partner as yourself? And what changes, do you really make when you're maintaining some of these vehicles that are actually, income producing assets rather than just, some privately owned cars?
Very true. So see, Fixit 45 is not a workshop business, right? We are a
Mm,
technology company connecting multiple workshops at different locations in Nigeria. So
mm,
one thing, we become a by default partner for this kind of, like, we are partner with Uber, we are partner with Bolt, we are partner with InDrive, LinkRide, all the ride hailing companies who are operating in Nigeria. Almost we are partner with everybody.
mm,
What it brings to these guys? First, when we understand those people who are putting their cars on this kind of platform, they are using it to make money, right? So as you said before, first part, the car cannot be off-road for a long time, right? Number two, The maintenance must be affordable,
Mm,
right? The cost of repair must be affordable to them. And number three, they should get this service at ease of their place, right? Or I can say at their convenience. So they should not see, oh, if I'm a ride-hailing driver, they may get this service, they may drive this car across city, right? Multiple locations. And if there
mm,
is an issue, and he has a mechanic particularly working in other part of the city, then it becomes very difficult for him to go to that person and he has to look for another technician at that convenience
mm,
fix it 45 brings. So maybe you are working in Lagos or you're working in Abuja and you have an issue in other part of the city, but still you have a workshop there for fix it 45 where you can go and get it serviced or get it fixed. So that convenience brings to them our platform, that special price plan we have planned for them, right? We have created for them so that they can get a very discounted services to our network. They can access to parts from our network, and that becomes very, like, go to tool for them.
mm. Wow.
Yes,
Wow. Now, spare parts seems like a major problem, right? Because, like you
very
said,
big.
you're building this network. You don't know which cars are from where. So Fixit45 built X parts alongside this service platform. Would you
Yes.
care to comment a little bit so our audience knows what is X parts and, how does it solve the real problem where, you know, uh, to really reduce the time it takes for a workshop to then get the repairs done on time.
Yeah. So see, when we started this workshop business, the obviously the biggest issue is parts,
Mm,
right? Nigeria, it's an open market, lot of models on the road.
yes.
There is no data available, what parts are required, where it is required. And when I was working with OEMs, I saw a big thing that lot of vehicles became obsolete. Obsolete in the sense that those vehicles doesn't go to the OEM shops, but they got lot of stocks available with them.
Mm,
But there is no transparency in the system, right?
mm,
Maybe I'm a storekeeper. I have a workshop. I have a part store in somewhere in Lagos. I have a brake pad for, let's say, Toyota Corolla 500 pieces.
mm,
And just in next corner, there is another person who needs brake pad, but he does not have.
mm,
And he is also importing the parts.
mm,
Nigeria is an import-driven economy. So all
mm,
parts are being imported. Now, thank God to the new government that, okay, yes, now there are a lot of new industries are coming in. So we can see some parts are being locally manufactured. But
mm,
that the transparency and the was a big concern. And we say, how we solve it? I say we can solve it only with the technology that we bring all these part stores on one platform,
mm,
and then they can share their stock with each and everybody. So rather than importing parts again and again into the inventory, we can actually cross sell to each other.
mm,
And that's how we build experts. We have onboarded more than, I can say, 1,500 plus parts suppliers on that, whether it's OEMs, original equipment supplier like Bosch and others,
wow.
and importers who are importing directly from across globe, and as well as retailers. So now it becomes very easy. Second benefit of that becomes was that for our workshop partners and these fleet owners, the
Mm,
cost become very competitive because now there is
mm,
a transparency in the pricing. Somebody is selling for 10,000, somebody is selling for 8,000. That
mm,
brings transparency, and ultimately started a little bit, control on pricing. That, okay, oh, I can't sell it for 15,000 and somebody is selling for 12,000. So that also a long way to go, but started that discipline. But
mm,
still, it's very early phase to say. One part is done is that, okay, now we have an aggregation of spare part suppliers. So at least they can cross sell to each other, they can buy from each other, they can see who has what, and it becomes much easier, right? And it's again spreaded across network. So my nearest workshop partner can easily have access to the nearest store.
right, right. One of Yeah, that's really awesome. And to talk about how you're branching together this fragmentation, that's really amazing. I can see that problem being solved. But on the flip side, I have to ask, right? Always when you think about fragmentation and finding ways to almost in a way create a baseline or standardize it, right? One of the hardest parts then can be, especially as you operate in a market that's growing just rapidly like Nigeria, and so many things are happening, standardization of quality across all these different technicians and workshops can be an issue, right?
Absolutely.
So how do you make sure that a customer gets that consistent Fixit45 experience when you're working across so much fragmentation, locations, and whatnot?
It's a very important question and really very tough,
Right.
very tough to scale, right? And I can say that's the biggest barrier in scaling, right?
Mm,
So, as I said, we are not trying to create a workshop business, right?
mm,
That, oh, we have multiple workshops. We saw that, okay, opening up multiple workshop is not a solution to this because there
mm,
is enough infrastructure available in the market. There are enough technicians available on ground. The biggest issue was one, they are not connected.
mm,
Number two, they do not have exposure to the standard processes, systems, technology, access to the knowledge, and that's what we are trying to create. So it's not only that, okay, fine, we want to fix the system, but then we have to go into
mm,
detail. So we started creating accreditation of the workshop. The first phase is clear that, okay, we don't want to go and work with each and every partner. So the person who understand the quality, who understand the importance of customer service, those are the people we onboard first.
mm,
Now second part goes is training.
mm,
So training is again understanding their capacity, what kind of technicians they have, what kind of training they need,
mm,
what are their current skills. Third part goes is technology adoption, right?
mm,
Because we can't be at every location. So technology is again become the bridge to
mm,
transfer the knowledge. People can learn on our platform. We call them for trainings. We understand what is it, and also we control the quality. Then again, the things came up. As I say, it's a way of it's learning, right? It's learning phase. So we during our learning, we understand the parts was a big challenge. Then we started aggregating part suppliers. We started supplying parts to workshops. That issue of the parts quality got sorted, and ultimately then it goes on physical quality controls, right? So what we got a team of our technicians, field staff who goes regularly to these workshops to understand what is happening, what is wrong, and what they're supposed to do right thing. So is a complete journey from, or you can call it like we are trying to standardize this fragmented market from being fragmented to understand and work in one ecosystem where everything understand what is technology, what is I supposed to deliver, and what are the values importantly for a customer to be getting and get to so that he can get the values for that. So
mm.
that's how we are trying to solve it. Still, I can say it's halfway, but yes, we are working. And again, it's filtration happens. So somebody who is not following the system, who is not following the processes, we deboard them and we bring another partners. So it's a continuous, completely learning cycle curve which is going on.
Right, right. Now, we're down to just our last few questions here. Times really
Yeah, yeah.
flies when you're having
He's
fun,
really fly. He's
you
really
know.
fly.
Yeah,
Mm.
it really does. So, you know, tell me a little bit, right? Because, you mentioned that you're very focused on the technology aspect of Fixit45, right? And also, you mentioned this is one of your issues with scaling, right? Kind of working through this fragmented model.
Yeah.
Maybe with that context in mind, right? Could you share with us what is the biggest, you know, thing that keeps you awake every single night? Like what's the biggest kind of constraint you have in your business right now?
See, obviously we are in service business, so there are always constraints, right?
Mm,
What the things which keep me still awake and push forward is that it's a lot to do in the industry, a lot to do, right?
mm,
The I see the biggest challenge today is again still capacity building, and that's where we are seriously investing our time, our energy, and then
mm,
how technology can solve this thing, right? So these are the two things I see. And ultimately, I say always customer first. That's our philosophy, right? So
mm,
if there are issues with customers, they are not happy with the services, that keep continue pushing me to see, okay, how best we can deliver again, how we can improve as a person, as a team, as a complete system.
mm. Right, right. Um, One other thing that, I noticed about your business as well is that, you also operate on a models to somehow also help your fleet companies get financing in certain ways, right? Does service history in terms of how the maintenance, how often maybe the maintenance is getting done, for your company and maybe your customers. Is that kind of reliable and valuable data on vehicle condition to help maybe insurers, lenders, or fleet finance companies understand these risks better?
Yeah, so see, that's what we are trying to build in Nigeria or Africa, you can
Mm,
say. If you're buying a car from US, you can have a lot of reports, service history
mm,
report. You're buying from Europe or any other part of world, you will get this data. But for Africa, the data is not available.
mm,
Uh, and that's what we are trying to create for Africa, right?
mm,
By providing this standardized service. Because see, the data is available, but data should be authentic. The data should be verified. And that's where Fixit45 comes and play the role that, oh, when you want to buy a car, we can carry out an inspection, which can give you a physical status of the vehicle. And as well as when you want to sell this car, we have a historical data for your car maintenance, right?
mm,
So currently it's you can say it's very early. We are on the data building business because not many players are there in the market. And we are trying to do it. And obviously it's going to be a value for financing company. It's going to be a value for insurers that okay when they want to, because anyway insurers for in Nigeria is not like they're not doing the extended warranty business. So yes, they are more of in comprehensive insurance on accident side. But for financing companies, absolutely it's a value. For OEMs, it's a value to understand what it is actually going, what parts, what kind of parts are required, what happens. When I work, as I said, I work with 25 years with OEMs, different OEMs, right? And the biggest challenge for every OEM is what happens to car when it is out of warranty period, because majority of markets, the car doesn't go to OEM shops. It goes to the other workshops, right? And the data is not consistent. So what happens to the car once it just crossed the warranty life?
mm,
And that data is not available readily everywhere, right? And
mm,
that's the thing which we are trying to create, not for one brand, but for every brand.
mm. Wow, wow. Now, you know, time flies really when you're having fun. I'm already
Yes.
down to my last question. So, if one thing I see is a lot of younger entrepreneurs and, many folks in Africa are aspiring to really build the future, to become like you, in the future, right? Um,
Yeah.
a lot of them always ask me, and that's why I really want to pitch it back to you guys, since you guys are the one operating here, right? If you could give one piece of advice to future aspiring entrepreneurs in Nigeria or in Africa looking to build a business in the mobility or in the logistics kind of sectors, right? What is one piece of advice you'll give them and why?
See, they're a very interesting question. And I really appreciate you for bringing that up, right? African market is not a market. A lot of people have come and tried, right? African market is not a market how the other market works. So Africa comes with a different, complete strategy. You must understand the local knowledge, right? What is actually required on ground. A lot of people are trying to see that, okay, oh, technology will solve the problem, right? I see technology, yes, in some sectors, technology may solve the problem, but in sectors like mobility, technology can be an enabler, right? You can standardize the things, you can standardize the process, you can gather the data, all of those things can be done, but still you have to be on ground and it's very tough, right?
Mm,
So as a founder, if you are ready to take that pain, that you have to be on ground, you have to understand the local content, you have to understand the local market, you have to have serious perseverance, right? You have to be every day up without any push, right? That okay, oh, I have to solve these problems. That passion, that perseverance, and that understanding of local market is very critical to be successful in Nigeria or
mm.
in any part of Africa. Only fundings will not solve the problem. Funding plus local knowledge will solve the problem.
Wow, wow,
So a lot of people are just running behind fund. Don't run behind funds only. Just build the business. Funds will follow you.
wow, wow. Build a business, funds will follow you. Be on the ground in Nigeria. Stay local. Thanks so much
Yes.
for your advice, Pankaj. Well, that's it for today, everyone. On Route to Scale on this episode with Pankaj, working and building Fixit 45. It's already incredibly already growing incredibly well, but only going to grow larger over the next 1 to 2 years, right? Pankaj, just as a last thing, right? Where are you seeing Fixit45 going in the next 1 to 2 years? Where are you at right now? Where do you see it going to?
Oh, so for Fixit, obviously there is a bright future ahead. What we are trying to do, we are continue trying to build further. And as I said, we are not building workshops. We are building an ecosystem where each and everything comes, take part, and benefits out of it. Whether it's customers, whether it's partners, whether there's workshops, whether technicians, or even suppliers. So that's what we see. In next 2 years, we are going to grow, right, in different cities. We are going to bring more innovative solutions for our customers, and as well as we try to put our impact, whatever we can make in next 2 years, to the industry.
Wow, wow. Well, that's it, folks. Everyone, Fixit45 going to expand to more cities in the next couple of years. Thank you so much, Pankaj, for this time. We really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.